stuck around Greg because he was first denied a chance to meet with him, and then he got the meeting he was after.
It was one of the most heroic moments I've ever seen.
Yeah.
You know, I've been doing the news for 50, 60 years. It's amazing. I remember the beer summit between Obama and Henry Louis Gates.
Yes, yeah.
This was the barf summit. People are talking about the margarita. I get it, but that's like debating the type of iceberg that the Titanic hit. You know, if you hadn't pushed for this ridiculous stunt using this thug as a prop, sorry, you can't complain if we turned it into a more absurd joke. You know, your photo op was ruined by a margarita. We don't care. Again, this is all downstream from the real and original sin, the Dems' abdication of the border. You let him in, our job to ship him out. We're cleaning up the mess you made. Again, the legal argument above my pay grade. I refuse to use this beautiful brain of mine on some solitary, violent creep out of billions on the planet, Dana. I have a family, I have a dog, I have a job, I have friends, coworkers. I have high cholesterol. He doesn't deserve a spot in my brain, and he can't jump to the front of the line just because he convinced the left that he's father of the frickin' year. Just because you're dating a dirtbag doesn't mean I have to like his pictures on Instagram. And the fact that Trump has to waste his time on this scum, this is what the Dems do. They choose one anecdote, one solitary person, and expect you to play their fake game of concern. I won't. Again, I don't care. You want to make this about due process? That's fine. Maybe try to pick an example that is more appealing, like an actual American, perhaps. This is, I will finish shortly, but I'm a little mad. Not really. The Dems always make one anecdote really important without processing whether it has any connection to the greater whole. Here you have a victim of a murder and a rape, Rachel Morin. Everybody at home looks at her and goes, that could be my sister. Yep. That could be my mother. That could be my daughter. What do the Dems offer? A gangbanger. Nobody at home is going, oh, that could be my husband, my son, oh, my brother, the MS-13 wife beater. It doesn't, see, you pick the wrong example. You know, we didn't say, we're going to take Rachel, you take the gangbanger. You chose that option yourself, and you've done it before. You've done it with Hamas, you've done it with BLM, you did it with Antifa, you did it with looters, you did it with, I could go on. This is the sunk cost fallacy of the Democrats. They can't admit that they picked the wrong person, or else, you know, they could turn around, they could turn back, but they can't. Just find a better example and we'll listen. But you know what? I'm not interested in the legal argument. I'm interested in getting criminals out. I'm not going to waste any more breath on this guy.
Well, those are good breaths, and the high cholesterol will get better.
Yes, I was supposed to put on statins, Dana, and I feel great.
Drug.
Slight diarrhea, but that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, what's new?
No, yeah, what is new?
It's Friday.
If everybody could pull, if everybody that is listening to me, could you pull up that Hillary Clinton tweet, please, or post? I want to read this to Charlie Hurt because I know he's dying to talk about Hillary Clinton. Before the election, I warned there is no safe haven under authoritarianism. If they can ship Kilmar Abrego Garcia to a foreign prison, accused of no crime, with no trial, they can do it to anyone. Americans of conscience must stand against this now, Charlie.
This is a fantasy world they're living in, and they, you know, you can talk about the legal stuff. I think that they're wrong on the legal arguments, and we can talk about that all. But I agree with Greg. Nobody cares about that. What they care about is you have the Democrat Party literally becoming the party of importing illegal aliens. Mm-hmm. And not only that, but illegal aliens who are gangbangers, and illegal aliens who are gangbangers. Oh, and also beat his wife. It's insane.
What do you want?
This is political suicide. And if you go back, remember the Dreamers? Does everybody remember the Dreamers? Mm-hmm. The Dreamers used to be the edge case that we would talk about. Right. And it was really uncomfortable for Republicans and conservatives because, you know, they're trying to say, well, the law and the illegal, there's a problem here. And how do we deal with these people? Because they're wonderful people, and many of them, and they didn't do anything wrong. They came because their parents dragged them here as children, so they didn't make a decision to break the law and come to the country illegally. So, you know, what do you do about them? And of course, Donald Trump in his first term, made a wonderful deal to legalize all of them and solve that problem. And what we then found out was that actually Democrats don't care about dreamers. They don't care about innocent people and immigrants coming into the country. What they care about is they hate voters, American voters, and they want to import millions of voters into the country, new voters into the country who are illegal aliens. And so what you wind up with is a gangbanger who is accused of beating his wife, and they're literally sending one of their own down to go and
so all
try to
throughout
pick
the
him up.
campaign, the top two issues were border security and the economy all throughout. And one of the things that was quite shocking was it was the highest number, like 80% of people were for deporting the illegal immigrants that have come across during Biden. Harry Enton of CNN, if you could pull this up, call for number 5. This is how voters are thinking about it now.
Voters favoring the government trying to deport all 11 million of them. Back in 2016, just 38% of voters wanted the government to try to deport all 11 million undocumented immigrants. Compared to where we are in 2025, 56%, the majority.
So that number, it's maybe come down a little bit. Maybe it'll be down a little bit more after this week, but it's still quite a majority, Jessica. So I wonder what you think about Van Hollen and this photo op. Will it pay off or hurt him in the end?
Well, the top line number for sure is going in Trump's favor on immigration. And we saw this in the recent CNBC poll, too. But it's also 61% disapprove of sending people who are here undocumented, who have not been convicted of a crime, to a foreign prison camp. And that's what's going on here. And people are paying attention to it. I think that it is very clear that the public outrage over this and the fact that a U.S. senator showed up there has put pressure on Bukele and on the Trump administration. Because before, while they were, lounging around the Oval Office, patting each other on their authoritarian backs, saying, ha, 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 build more prisons.
Where's the outrage? What outrage?
The
Public outrage?
Yeah.
What? You're just reading news blogs, Jessica.
No, you think that the Supreme Court saying 9-0 that his return has to be facilitated, you think this Fourth Circuit opinion written by a Reagan appointee saying this should be shocking.
That's not public outrage.
Yes, Greg, I'm not just getting this off of some junk on my phone. If you look on the front pages of all of the major newspapers, if you look at every newscast and what they're leading with, it's this story. And you say you always pick one person. And you say that to me frequently, and then I come back the next day with someone new. When I said there's a 54-year-old American man that was taken into ICE detention custody. Mm-hmm. Oh, one guy, he got returned, no big deal. Then I talk about Andre, the gay makeup artist, who, by the way, still has not been convicted of anything, and we don't know what's happened to him.
Why isn't anybody going down there to try to get him?
Well, someone should, whatever
why
state
would Chris Van Hollen, though, pick this guy?
But
why do you pick the MS-13 guy and not the gay makeup artist?
This isn't an MS-13 guy. Let's be very clear about this. The accusation of being MS-13 is based on a double hearsay testimony. They never followed up with it. And a detective who weeks later was indicted for sharing confidential information. His legal status, Abrego Garcia's, was approved by the Trump administration in 2019. And every year since then, he has checked in with the Department of Homeland Security. And nobody has said anything about him being a gangbanger.
Until he was...
No, not until anything.
He became a prop.
To this day. It's not about being a prop. There will be other senators that are looking into these, because it is reported that over 75% of the people that were on that plane have not been convicted of anything. And the American public understands the difference between being deported and being sent to a foreign prison where they don't get a phone call. Okay. They don't get to talk to their lawyer, their wife.
Somebody who's been killed by an illegal alien.
If we have a mass murderer in maximum security American prison, they have more rights than the people being sent there for a lifetime sentence.
How did they get here?
Right. Okay.
He had legal status.
How did he get here?
He was here illegally.
At
He admitted
16.
he was here illegally. And
the government said we made a mistake.
Okay. So the question that Dana asked was, why did Chris Van Hollen pick this particular person to completely defend, to go to El Salvador, to have this big show? And the answer is because this is his constituent. This is who he sees, this illegal alien gang member who beat his wife, was accused of being a suspicious human trafficker that the Democrats in Maryland and the Democrats at the federal level completely allowed to continue that behavior for years. He's lecturing about deception, which is pure projection. And the question about why he's doing this comes back to me, because it's hard to wrap your brain around why he would do this, is that he's running for president. He wants to run for president, so he's looking at his constituency. Democrats have completely lost the voters they used to have, and they're looking at the people they brought in, and they're saying, we're going to completely erase the line between citizenship of the United States of America and being here illegally, which Jessica just perfectly laid out why it doesn't matter. He said residents of this country. He didn't say citizens of this country. So Democrats for years have tried to destroy that so they can then import this new constituency, which they are defending in Maryland, in El Salvador, and this is what they're doing with it. Finally, I would say that Americans have been the victims of these crimes. And it goes back to, again, they're willing to defend the rights, the constitutional rights that this guy doesn't actually have because he's not a citizen, but they're not willing to stand up for actual Americans in their states who are victims of violent crimes. They're victims of identity theft, a whole slew of things that happen when illegal immigrants pour into the country. And so Democrats are doing this. I think the Trump administration likes it. When your enemy is doing something stupid, you just let them keep doing it. And I don't think that press conference today
All right,
is
we
helping
will
them.
move it right along.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.